Hi, my name is Ronan Kennedy and I'm a career coach. Today I'm talking to my friend Niels and he's going to tell us a little bit about his career journey. Niels, thanks so much for joining and telling us a bit.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So can you tell us, what do you do?
Yeah, so I trade on the stock market and I have a software company that also focused on trading. So
Very cool. So how do you trade on the stock market?
Well, I day trade. So that means I trade like very short term. So it could be seconds, could be minutes, could be, yeah.
So high frequency trading essentially?
Not per se high frequency,
okay,
but it's short term, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you get into something like that?
Well, I don't think I took like the normal path doing that. I just quit my job and started doing it.
Oh, well, so you did it for yourself just as a side thing? Okay.
So, yeah, I don't think that for most people that would be the best way to do it.
Right.
But it's what I did, yeah.
It seems quite risky.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But when you were getting into that, were you not worried like, okay, maybe I'll make €1 million or maybe I'll be minus €1 million?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure the first year I lost most of my money. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then how did you go back after that?
I went living back to my parents' place for a while. Yeah. And saved all my money and started again. Yeah.
Wow. So what was the thinking behind starting again, even though it must have been a little bit painful losing?
Yeah. It was very stressful. Like emotionally, it's like not the best place you can be in. Yeah, it was hard, but I didn't want to give up. I liked it, like the game, like the whole trading world.
But you obviously figured you had like a natural aptitude for it, or did you feel like I could read and learn about this?
I wouldn't say that. I think it's more not giving up. Yeah. It's pretty hard. It still is actually. But yeah.
Right. And do you think that's like a field that you would encourage people to go into, or is it more like proceed with caution, or like if somebody thinks, oh, that sounds cool, I like the idea of being at home trading and trying to understand the markets and watch the financial news?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't advise against it per se, but there's probably a few points that you should like take in consideration. First of all, I think you shouldn't try it with money that you cannot miss. That's the first thing. That makes it very stressful, and you probably make only like mistakes that you normally wouldn't make per se.
Okay, so only use money you can afford to lose.
Yes.
Yeah.
And probably also it's a good thing to have a part-time job still, so you're not fully dependent on it right away, like I was.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel there's a lot of. I feel there's like in my case, because I don't understand the markets well, I would say I understand enough to know I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like that. My level of knowledge is, if I think I understand that, I don't really understand it. So I try to stay out of it. The same with like poker. I know I'm not a smart enough poker player to be able to play. Sure, I could study and learn a little bit more.
I tried that too.
But there's a lot of uncertainty in it that I think people have to factor in as well, right? And you can get lucky. Do you ever think people get lucky and maybe they want to stay in more and they think they're skilled, whereas really they're just lucky?
Definitely. It happened to me too. Well, I wouldn't say per se lucky. It could be too. Like the worst thing that could happen, I think, is that your first month, you're going to have a lot of luck. And then you're going to think you're really good. And you're going to trade like with more risk, for example, and then probably lose it all. That's very like common.
Yeah.
But yeah, luck. I mean, if it happens a lot of times, it's not luck anymore, I think.
Yep.
But still, it's a factor, sure.
Yeah. So, what would be your top tip for somebody going into that sort of field? They're thinking about maybe they feel like they have a very good analytical brain. They're very good at maths in school, perhaps. Yeah,
probably drop the maths and numbers skills. I think it's mainly comes down to psychology, like math psychology. It surprised me too.
Well, yeah.
I went on into it too. I studied math, economics, something like that. But it's kind of useless because usually it comes down to psychology.
Right.
They try to get people on the wrong side of the market and then go against them, and then like trying to force people out. Force like margin calls. Like margin call is that if you don't have enough money in your account, you're gonna like get an automatic order that closes out your account. Yeah, they're very good at that, because like they know how people usually react.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So that's so interesting that it's more about mass psychology than about like
Yes.
the numbers, because
Yes.
there's maybe some cynical players or people like, because I guess if there's someone like me or an individual, we're in our bedrooms trying it, and then there's like this huge bank who's got like a whole floor of people and I'm competing against them.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think I'm going to win.
No, exactly, and that's
I'm not gonna win that battle.
that's probably wise to say, because you are competing against them, so it's not easy. It's definitely not.
Yeah.
But like I'm doing it now for 14 years.
Okay.
Picked up a few things.
So that's the skill.
I would say so. Now, if I look back, there are definitely things that I could like say that if you do that, then it helps you like progress a lot faster.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, I trade like with order flow, and that's like a type of analysis that uses like volume and like real time data.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people that do something with trading, they use like like MACD, RSI, and those are like really like lagging indicators. They like go behind the bars and then they form some kind of line or like scale.
Wow. Okay.
And yeah, I for me that never really worked because like I didn't really know what I was looking at.
So there's lots of little technical things like understanding the right indicators to watch, like maybe having the right tools to use, understanding mass psychology.
Yeah.
And then maybe understanding the risks of you're playing against some of the biggest well-funded
Yes.
organizations in the world.
Yeah, you are, because like they also build algorithms, right? Like they put millions into building an algorithm that makes a few ticks of profit every time, or like, yeah.
Wow.
That's true.
Wow, crazy. Okay, so I think I'll stick with what I'm working on. For
Yeah,
the
I
moment.
mean, yeah.
Yeah, very cool. So you're doing all that in the background, and then also you have this idea, or you're taking on this app project as well. Can you?
Right. Yes. Exactly. Yes. I started making. Well, okay. Like I think it's like 7 years ago or something. I guess. I started building an algorithm, and. So it was for a platform that, like, out of nowhere, they decided to switch platforms and go into an whole other system. And I was like, oh no, I spent all this money on this algorithm, and now it's useless. I have to convert it to another like system, but which at the time I don't think it was possible. So I was like, oh no, money thrown away. But they were a white label of another platform. So what I did is like build the missing part for that platform into the white label platform, and they couldn't do that because I had like a contract with the platform that was white label too.
Very cool.
So that's kind of how I started my software company, because I needed it, and yeah.
So the necessity created the innovation.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
so it wasn't really a plan to start a software company. Well, it was like just a plugin, right? It was just a plugin for another platform. But yeah, that's how it started.
But these are quite complex plugins, right? Because there's a lot of moving parts and compliance and regulation. I would imagine.
Because the compliance and everything kicks in when you're like a brokerage firm or something like that. If you're just doing like analytics for people, those where they are allowed to like connect their accounts, then that doesn't apply.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you started the tech company or the app company. How did you find that was a different process to trading or day trading?
Well, at first not really, because it was running from day one. I think kind of lucky. So I was like, okay, cool. So I could trade from all over the world already, right? So I was just traveling around, like enjoying surfing, kite surfing everywhere, and yeah, it was good. So I wasn't really like that into it, like with a lot of time. It was just running, like it was like yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
But are you talking about the trading or the app?
No, the first plugin that I made.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so it was just working in the background.
Yeah, it was just running. I
fantastic.
had everything set up. I did it all by myself,
okay.
and I did nothing about marketing, like zero. Well, I put out a few tweets and posted on a forum.
But do you have coding knowledge, or how did you?
No, I hired a developer to do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you still had to go about that process of hiring people and having.
Well, that was very interesting indeed. Yeah, that's a good point for you, of course. That was actually very interesting. Finding developers is really very, very hard. Like it's the hardest thing I think I've run into so far. I had the first plugin almost fully built. I was like 95% completed. It was some guy in I'm not sure which country it was, like some Eastern country, and he was he was contemplating with his belief, and he had to talk with this imam, I believe, and because of their belief, they couldn't work on financial products because it's not allowed. And I was like, okay, that's cool, that's fine, that's no problem. If that's what you want to do, then yeah, we can just stop. He had 95% finished, and I told him, like, is it? Did your mom said it was okay to send it to me? Yeah, no problem. Yeah, but I formatted my hard disk already. I'm like, what? You did what?
Oh wow! So he wiped the disk.
Yes. So we worked months on it already, and he decided to just wipe his hard disk and didn't send me anything. So I had to start over from zero.
Wow.
I was like, are you kidding me? Yeah, that was kind of frustrating. Yeah.
So you had to talk about, do you have to talk about contracts and that sort of stuff then? Okay. That's super frustrating. So you needed to tap into your resilience to...
Yes.
How was that going back to the blank page? Is that painful?
Yeah, it was quite painful because I spent a lot of time and energy into it because we were kind of working on it together, like every day for like a while. And then it was gone. That was very interesting. It's been a while that I thought about this actually, but it was very, very interesting.
Not to bring up bad memories or anything like that.
Well, you know, it's like you only learn from it, so it's fine.
But I'm interested because sometimes I've had to go back to the start and start something all over again. Yeah. And I often find that, you know, because of course, naturally, you've got some lessons in that process. When you start, you nearly start significantly better the second time than the first time. Did you find that you were still steps ahead, or you were starting better the second time?
Definitely, yeah. I kept the code like backed all the time. I had, well, not so much of a contract, but it was still a freelancer, right? So, but yeah, we discussed a lot more. And then just started again. Okay. But this time successfully, so we finished the app. And
fantastic! Congratulations.
Yeah. So it was definitely an interesting time. Yeah.
So you have all the backups and copies and everything now, right?
I back up everything now. Yeah, for sure.
Hard lessons. So how is the app now? Have you launched it officially?
Oh no, this app. Yeah, so it was still about the plugin, that part.
Okay.
The app that I'm building now for the last 3 years is like a full-on team. Like it started with 7 people, project managers, things like that, like designer, everything. So it's a little bit different than just a plugin, but it became quite a big project. Also with still a lot of problems with developers. And also very unlucky with a team in Ukraine, and then when the war started, everything, it's just like everything, like
super complicated, right? It's very difficult for them.
Yes, exactly.
So you start with a team of 7, right? That's pretty big already, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like recruiting and you're managing these people. How did you find that process? Because if you go from being, a trader and now you're a manager and you're leading people and you're doing project management yourself.
Well, I also hired someone to do that a little bit. So he mainly went into the recruiting stuff. So I oversaw it, but he did the main work around that. Yes. Right. Yeah. And he has some knowledge because he was already a project manager, like with some bigger companies and stuff like that. So he knew how to deal with that, and he had more experience with dealing with freelancers and everything. And I still had only one freelancer building this small plugin. Right. So this was definitely different.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So what do you think is the most important thing to actually run that project successfully? Like, do you have a
lot of budget?
have a large budget.
Yeah. Well, I think that's also a big part of it, actually. I was like sort of joking, but not really.
But deadly serious at the same time.
I would definitely went a lot over budget. So,
right.
Yeah.
Is that seems like a common challenge though when people are building software?
Yes, that's true. It's true, but I can't say I have much experience with it before because it was just a plugin that I built that was like, a fraction of what I spend now building this whole platform instead of just a plugin. So, people warn me though. You know, I have a friend like he's a trader, a veteran trader. He traded on the floor like back in the days, and he told me like, yeah, I have a friend. He built an app, like spent more than $1 million, and he was just like he was just done with it. You know, he just like let it go. Like,
really?
Okay, cool.
Okay, so some inspiration.
It was very inspirational. But I was like, no, I can do that differently. I can do it better. But I think I do. But it's still instead of like 9 to 12 months, it's now 3 years.
Yeah.
So it's been quite a journey.
And is that because there's been like pivots or changes in direction, or is it more technical issues?
It's more also technical issues. It's more complex than they estimated it would be. But also with the team that I had before, because I hire new people now, the English language was always like a little bit of an issue. And the bad thing is they never told me like, yeah, we understand. I'm like, okay, cool. But in the end, it was just like not understood. So that was quite an issue in the end. So it cost a lot of extra work.
Wow. Okay. So really making sure people understood directions.
Yes.
Super important.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm hiring another developer right now, actually. And I always want to do like an interview, like to see how their English is, if they understand me, if I can understand them. Because if it goes wrong there already, like, it doesn't even matter if they're good or not. Yeah. It's just like,
It's interesting, isn't it? Because like when you think of building an app, you think of all the technical challenges, you think of all the budget, the project management, organizing. But then like often it comes down to such a kind of fundamental, simple thing as, do you understand what I'm asking you?
Yeah. Sure.
Do you ever use the technique where you kind of say, you explain it and then you say, well, can you explain it back to me so we make sure we're on the same path?
I think I do actually. But I also write usually like complex explanations, like in Figma or something like that.
Right.
So it's really not like much left to the imagination.
So it's pretty precise already.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because like if you let them just do whatever they want, they do like different colors, they do different sizes, they do different fonts, they do everything different than you want it to be. So for me, I'm kind of precise maybe in that, but I just like it to be how I want it.
Yeah, of course.
And not being like, oh, okay, cool, that's red instead of blue, That's
especially if you're paying for all this, right? You want it to be, you want it to match your vision.
Yeah. Exactly.
Some people might find it difficult to think about going from one career to another career, like going from being a trader to being an app developer and a business owner. Yeah. How did you find that transition? Was that just very seamless and easy?
I mean, I didn't really think about it. It just happened. So it was like not my plan, like I said, like it just happened. So I didn't really think about it, I guess. It just like was naturally like went that way. And I don't know.
That's very cool. So you just seem to solve the problems as they arise and not worry about them too much in advance.
I mean, not really. I mean, I might worry, but I'm always confident that I can solve it. Yeah. Of course, some things are pretty stressful. So I've been quite stressed the last 3 years. Right. But I'm not thinking like, oh, this is the end. No, definitely not. No.
Very good. No. So what's your vision now for the app going forward?
What do you mean vision?
Like what do you hope it will do? Where do you hope people will use it?
Yeah, no. So I'm very happy with it because I'm I love Macs, like Mac.
Like MacBooks?
Apple, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And with trading, that's really not very common to have a trading app that works on Mac, and mine does. Also on the browser, Mac, Windows, and if desired, also on Linux. So, and that's still not super common. It's becoming more common right now. But with like a more advanced trading app, it's like I haven't seen it on Mac. And so I always had to run like parallels, or like install Windows on a separate partition or something like that. That was all super annoying for me. And I just really don't like Windows, but I was always stuck with it because I had no choice.
So that probably added a bit of complexity, did it?
Not per se, because we use a different structure to build it. Okay. So it made it more complex and a little bit of a bigger project. but not per se more complex because there's more technology now than 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But it's definitely more work. Yes.
Yeah. That's great. I love the way like you're solving the problems or you're building the products that you need. Like the plugin was a plugin you needed, and now this is another pain point that you've had.
It's where it comes from. True. Yeah. I need it and then I build it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. And that's true.
That's a tip I've heard in a lot of places. Like do the thing that you want, or make what you want to see in the world, or write the movie you want to watch, or build the app that you want to use. Yeah. I think it's a good like in terms of doing product research. Yeah. You've done it with yourself.
Yeah, I'm the customer.
You're the customer, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And worst case scenario, you built it for one. You built it for yourself. Right?
Yeah, true.
Although it could be an expensive hobby.
Yeah, true. That is also true. Yeah. No, I definitely hope to make some money from it.
That's great. Is there any tip that you would give to 20-year-old Niels starting out on this journey?
Ooh.
If you had to look back and think, there's one thing. Of course, there's like loads of things we pick up on the way, but there could be one thing that really stands out for you, whether it be, I don't know.
Yeah, so for trading wise, I would say start small. Start small and start on paper. Yeah. And don't be too confident too quick. Right. Yeah, that definitely messed with my mind, I think.
Yeah.
In regards of the app, I would say. I'm not really sure.
Save to the hard drive.
Back it up. Yeah.
Back up everything you do.
Everything. Yeah. But mostly. Yeah, I would still just say just do it.
Yeah.
Because what's the worst that can happen? Like you tried something and either it worked or you learned something from it. So and that's kind of how I see it also. So I'm not really like. Yeah.
That's very good. So it's a bit your philosophy is just try it. If it doesn't work, you fix it.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Or try something else, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
That's great. Yeah. It sounds like a very healthy attitude towards things not working well or things breaking or failure, that type of thing, right? Just try something else.
Yeah, pivot. I mean, at first, of course, like it might affect you emotionally and stuff like that. I wouldn't say definitely like it was easy all the time. But I feel really like all those years now, I learned quite a bit, like how to deal with that, and or even how to turn it around, like see if like from a problem make an opportunity. Yeah. And I'm like, wow, it's very different than how I started out doing that.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool, I think.
That's great, yeah. So when you see a problem, is there an opportunity in this problem? Not just that this is a problem.
Yeah.
Because then you can build a product, you can build a plug-in, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So just to turn the tables, if there was a software developer or a programmer watching this, what tip would you give them for working with a business owner? Like, what do you really want when someone comes to you and says, "I'll build code, I'll help you with your app"?
Yeah.
What do you really want from them? Is it like really good communication? Is it super, refined technical skills, or is there something else that's more important?
Yeah, I would say really like detailed logs about what they're doing.
Okay.
Communication as well. Yeah, that comes with it, I guess, a little bit. Like reporting. In the beginning I always thought like, reporting, whatever. If it just worked, it's fine. But in hindsight, I think that's like, it's still kind of critical to know where they're at, how they're going, what they're like, kind of problems they're facing or not. And for the rest, I would say. No, mainly that, I think.
That's plenty, yeah. So keep good logs, good communication, and maybe the ongoing reporting, so that you, as the business owner or as the entrepreneur, know what's going on. You can manage it and watch it a little bit easier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Super, Niels. Yeah. Thanks so much for all your tips and insights and the interesting journey that you've been on so far.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks so much. Good work.